got the word out, and pretty soon Streamlabs will kick in and let everybody know that we are live. Welcome to the Bonnet Chronicles. I'm your host, Kalari Gamerchick. It is the week of September 10th, 2021. Those of you who know me know that tomorrow is probably going to be more of a somber day for us, but we're still going to try to have fun with Gen X Cynics cast so that it's not a day of just mourning and the like. But it has been kind of a rough week. So I wanted to kick off talking about that because there's been a lot of misinformation and a lot of disinformation going on, and it's just vexing and frustrating. And to get in the back and forth with people who should know better but still want to use their platforms to spread misinformation kind of disheartened me. So I've been taking a break on and off of social media because of it. But there is just a lot to talk about tonight. And of course, I talked about it last week and I'm going to continue to talk about it this week. What's going on in Texas is not the end of the world. It sucks. I don't like what it says for the women in Texas to have people passing laws on their body. But for the people that want to be hyperbolic and not organize, you're part of the problem. And I don't think people want to hear that. They want to be told, oh, it's out of your hands. Everything that's going wrong is not your fault. Somebody else can handle it. They want a president who acts like a genie instead of a person who has to be our leader. One of the arguments I've seen today that was going around social media from idiots like Jake Tapper talking about how, oh, the president's scolding people. Well, we're literally in a nation where people are acting like children. We're telling you basic things like get a vaccination to be safe. Mask up because a vaccination is not a cure, and this COVID thing could be kicked if we were smarter. But we are in a nation of self centered, spoiled, entitled people who just don't want to do the right things. So to have a president have to get tougher, have to say, do this or lose your job, do this or lose your benefits. It shouldn't have had to come to that. But if you're not going to act like responsible adults, you're going to be treated like the children you're being. And there's a problem with what's going on in these states controlled by men like Abbott and Kemp and DeSantis and all around the country where there are people who are more interested in ingratiating their pockets than protecting their constituents. We don't confront them. We act like they're inevitable. We act like we can't organize around them, and that's bullcrap. Apathy and disinterest is the reason why men like Abbott get away with what they're getting away with. They have controlled for so long that people think there's nothing else we can do, but that's not the truth. Texas is only a red state because the red people are louder. The red people try to change the rules and people give up instead of organizing around it. But black people have dealt with white people pulling this stuff for way longer than you can even understand. Every time we've gotten a bit of freedom, the rules have changed. And instead of just giving up and giving in, we survive. And we survive because we play it smart. And so many of you will say things like vote like black women, act like black women, listen to black women, but you don't really hear us when you say that. You just want to feel like you're a part of something. But that's not good enough anymore. If you really care about women and what's going on in Texas and what could potentially go on in several other states with governments that don't seem to care, instead of demanding DC step in, you will help organize. I'm a part of Onward Together, and I say this a lot because I'm really proud to have joined that up. It's run by Hillary Clinton. She constantly works behind the scenes to try to get people elected who want to do the job, who understand that legislation happens on a state and local level as well as a federal level, who doesn't let misinformation and just lies blind us from what we have to get done. And the reason why I got so upset this week is because I see people with large platforms, people that you think because of their numbers or because you see them on TV spread more misinformation about who's not doing what. The do somethings have been so loud and so wrong for these last 8 months that I just can't take it anymore. Because it's not that they want the Democrats to do something. They just want something specifically done for them, whether it's free college or student debt reform, anything to ingratiate themselves. They don't care about all of us. And that's the problem. And they're very loud, and they think they're going to keep getting their way if they scream or do enough stunts and antics. And we've got to work around their nonsense too. It's just tiring being sandwiched between stuck up entitled people and stupid entitled people. But those of us in the middle who want to know what to do, we need to keep focused. We need to keep organized. There are a lot of local races coming up. There are a lot of people already predicting how, the midterms are going to be negatively impacted by this. We cannot let those fake soothsayers keep leading us towards this cycle of fuckery. We are our own best bet against this. But too many people want to throw in the towel. Too many people want to go into the hyperbole. I spent the last few days just researching what exactly is under attack, because for the last week or so, the narrative has been Roe v. Wade is under attack. Hey, Beanie, thank you. I'm sorry about the commercials too. Hopefully there won't be too many of them tonight. But the narrative of Roe versus Wade being under attack is real easy to believe because of what's going on in Texas. Because a heartbeat bill is just that. It's an attack on the federal abortion law. But it's at the state level. And anybody trying to tell you when you understand that you're using a Republican talking point, they're ignorant. I live in a state with a Democratic governor. Most of my representatives are Democrats. We don't have such a bill on the books, though we may have antiquated stuff that if Roe v. Wade was taken off the books, if was taken and stricken, would hurt women. That is what we should be focusing on. We should be focusing on the laws of our individual states that could hurt women. But nobody wants to talk on that because that takes work, that takes organizing, that takes actual understanding of what goes on in your state legislative. And they bank on people going, I don't want to learn all that. Why can't the president just do it? The president is the federal level, and there is checks and balances for a reason. We don't have a monarchy. We can't just install somebody and say, do what I want, but don't do this. Do what I want, but I don't care if it negatively impacts this. And too many people don't understand what's going on in Texas was the will of the people who elected men like Abbott. So if you want to stop stuff like that, you have to get somebody who wants the will of people who aren't like Abbott in power. And it doesn't just stop at him. Senate level, we need a change. Representative level in the House seats there needs a change. But people don't want to do all that work. But then you act like you can't understand why people who actually want to see us turn into a Gilead keep getting away with stuff like this. When I lived in North Carolina, they tried very hard in vain. And then they ended up passing the transgender bathroom bill, HB 12, as it was called. And despite all of us who rolled out and said, it is not an okay bill. We cannot do this to transgender people. It still passed. But you know what happened when it passed? McCrory did not bank on people saying with their money and with their votes that you were out. And while Cooper is still going through it in North Carolina, he has done his best to undo a lot of the damage of the NC GOP. But it takes work to get that done. And when you're stymied by other people in your own field, it could be harder. So what people in North Carolina really need to do is give Cooper more people who want to work with him instead of against him, so that you don't lose any more money. But people play too many games because you don't think it's in your backyard until it is. And hey, welcome to the chat, G. Feldman. Welcome, Beans. Welcome, Capricorn. For real, though, I feel like this week was demoralizing on a level that it shouldn't have been. And the main reason is because it's exhausting trying to explain to people why you can't pin the state issue on our president. I shouldn't have to say why it's not Biden's fault that Abbott was able to pass this heartbeat bill. But too many people want to pass the buck, and it's exhausting trying to explain to you that on a state level, A lot of states can get away with fuckery depending on who's in power. And if you don't want your state passing restrictive laws, if you don't want representatives passing heartbeat bills, you need to be on the ball. You can't play the can't somebody else do it game because eventually it's going to catch up to all of us. Because even if other states currently aren't passing their own laws on this, they are testing the waters because they realize that if they cause enough chaos and discord, people will go, well, what's our president doing? Because for some reason you can't separate and disconnect that the state level, even though it's there to assist the federal level, is not completely controlled by one another. And that if we want proper legislation, we have to have proper representatives in DC and locally for us. I know that it's hard for some of you to wrap your brain around, but what happened in Texas happened because enough people who are brainwashed to believe in that they can control people's choice in the matter should have the say. If you don't like it, instead of getting hyperbolic, instead of yelling at Biden to do something, you need to help people who want the change organize. Abbott needs to go, but he's one of many. And I am so tired of hearing about unwinnable elections and what we can and cannot do. That's why I joined a group. And anybody who knows me can tell you, I don't like groups. But I'm sick and tired of doing nothing and seeing this country burn every 4 years after we clean up the mess. And that is what I feel like both the media and many pundits, even those that I normally respect, are doing because it's all a game to them. They make their coin no matter what, even if the rest of us suffer and fail from it. But we've got a nation full of misinformation, full of suffering unnecessarily, and full of idiocy that could be combated if people gave a crap. And it's just exhausting with all the other personal stuff that I got going on right now that I just get tired. And I took what I needed, a few days away from the noise after arguing with people because it just weighs down on you. Thank you so much, B. I love you too. It's just, I didn't want to complain, but it's just like when you see what's going on and you see people just utilizing lies to manipulate the situation. And those people are well known. So you go against those who have a platform, who have people who believe in them because they have a platform, and you feel like you're wasting your time, but it's not a waste of time to combat misinformation with truth. And I'm watching a lot of people go hyperbolic and try to get people riled up for the wrong reasons. If you're riling people up against Roe v. Wade, but you're not telling them how to organize at a state level, if you're getting people upset about what's going on in Texas, but you're not making sure that they're keeping track of what's going on in California and other states that have issues, you're part of the problem. We have a lot of work to do. And I know for some people, they're still in fake it till they make it mode. They're creating their own political parties, such as Yang, who I really hope that eventually people who followed him blindly open their eyes. But I'm not here to school those people. I'm talking to those of you who see the fuckery and feel like there's nothing you can do. There is always something. You don't have money, that's fine. We don't all have money to donate to stuff, but you have time. You have a voice. You have the ability to know what's going on in your local election. And if you have to get involved with somebody else's state, make it sign in postcards to remind them when the election is. We have grassroots free things that you can do to make things better. I seen it the other day. People talking about disability advocates and how, having a TikTok where we scream do something is doing something. No, it's not. Not if that's the only thing you're using your platform for. Yelling without action is as good as nothing. And I need people to understand that. If you got a platform and you're using your voice to depress the vote, you're just as bad as somebody who does nothing. Exactly. Afro Savvy is one of my favorite people on Twitter because she is constantly doing and organizing and getting the word out for elections in her neck of the woods and beyond. And it's just tiring seeing people make excuses constantly on, oh, I can't do anything. I'm homebound. I'm homebound too. We've got the internet. We've got the ability to reach out to people, text banking, phone banking. If you have social anxiety and can't speak to people, which I fully understand, Greg and I talk about it all the time. He laughs at me. I do not like talking on the phone a lot. If I know you, I make the exception, but it is hard for me. I do not enjoy phone conversations like normal people do. So I made it a point when text banking became a thing that that would be a way I could help because I can text to people. Writing stuff is my jam. So there's no excuse. Using my platform to remind people, check your ballots. Make sure that you can get your vote heard. But too many people want to play games. And like I said, when they're in it for the wrong reasons, they don't care who gets hurt. I care. I know that there are people out there right now still fighting against common sense things like keeping themselves clean and getting vaccinated. And we are trapped in the middle of people who are really self centered and entitled and those who just don't seem to care. They're self destructive and it can be overwhelming. But if you're doing the right thing, it matters. We're not always going to get a win, but we get further towards things getting better for all of us when we don't give up. And that's why I needed a few days to relax and recharge and remind myself of this because it does get exhausting. Every day this week, I was seeing either people talking about losing loved ones, I was seeing people arguing about what's going on in Texas. But what I wasn't looking for, even though it was there, were the people who were still like, I got this. I'm going to run for something. I got this. We're going to organize. I got this. I know what's going on a local level. And I need to keep focused on them because everything else is noise. And I know it is hard for people to understand that, but that is how you have to be right now. We are inundated by noise. People who want to be outraged about what happened in Afghanistan, but not really understand that there's no such thing as a real peaceful end to war. I told Greg that the other night. My family has seen every major war in this country. There's never a real clean way of it. And there's always lots of lives lost. And nobody wants to blame the last guy for the mess that this administration inherited. So we who know what's up just have to deal with their ignorance and keep pushing past their ignorance. And I know it gives you a headache, but I can't make it clearer that it's not about them. We're never going to convince people who want to be stuck in their misery to be out of it. All we can do is keep pushing forward. And I know that it is hard for some people to grasp that because you just want the world to be better. You just want everything to work out and set right. You want people to respect who you are, no matter who you love, who you identify as, your gender. But that's not the world we have right now. And until we get that world, those of us who do that and are working on ourselves, we have to keep looking for those who are like us and keep moving forward. That's what I was forgetting this week. And that's why I was getting melancholy because it becomes tiring when you see loud, wrong people trying to control the narrative. I had to undo a lot of that toxic. But now that I have, I'm really starting to see what matters. What matters is making sure people keep focused. I know people are already making their think pieces against the VP and against this current administration and talking about how we're being treated like babies and everything they can to complain because they know we have stability. We didn't have this even a year ago. Every day it was nonstop scandals. Every day it was nonstop waking up to, oh God, what is going to happen next? Now I wake up and my most inconvenience is what lie am I going to hear people spout? And how many more people are going to ignore science and try to do things their own way? We are in stable times, y'all. And I know that people who make their profit off chaos can't stand it, but we've got to keep moving past them. There are a lot of people out there that are just nasty because that's just how they get their happy. Oh, exactly. They are just so scared that they can't keep that pace, that silly pace of people who don't really care about anything but getting rich. Those people who create those scandals that keep us angry because when we're upset, we click. When we're upset, we watch. When we're upset, we share. People have milked our emotion for so long that that's all they know how to do. Angry people get results for them. Whether that result keeps us unhappy and toxic and miserable doesn't matter as long as they get the profit. And we have to remember that. That's why I stopped watching so many of those media channels. I don't turn on MSNBC anymore. I don't turn on CNN anymore. I've never watched Fox News. But so many times when I did watch MSNBC, I felt myself being pulled and swayed by emotions that weren't genuine. Why am I getting upset about something that isn't real? Because manufactured outrage sells. If you want to be angry about something, at least know the ways you can help change it. Don't use that anger to just feed in the apathy. But that's what they want. They want us to be angry and then they want us to be apathetic as if nothing can change. And I'm telling you, as I said earlier in this cast, and I mean it, I'm tired of seeing you say vote like, listen to amplify black women, and then not do what we do. We don't just talk the talk. You want to change the way we vote? You want to change the laws and make it harder? We'll still come out there. You want to say, don't give out water to us? We'll bring our own water. You want to have us in long lines? We'll bring chairs. Black people have always worked around the fuckery. That's why they can't stand us. That's why they try to block the John Lewis voting rights bill. That's why they don't want us voting in the South. But we have shown what we can do when we get together. And what we need are the people who scream at us that they're our allies to actually vote with us. And not try to hold your vote hostage, because that was a lot of what I've seen this week too. Too many of you think it's okay to tell black people, well, you're going to need us. No, you're going to need us. Let's get it real and let's get it proper. We all really need each other. But if black women especially decided we were going to set this stuff out, you would be fucked. And you know it. But you can't wrap your mind around it, so you threaten and you tantrum because you know you come from a larger demographic for now. But between the idiots taking cow dewormer and sterilizing themselves and the fact that you cannot stop progress, you are dwindling. So I suggest instead of threatening us, you learn real solidarity and how to be actual allies, which means shutting up, listening, and being able to be counted on whether you're seen or not. Because too many of you think you're allies because you get patted on the head by a few loud people. But my allies do work whether they're seen or not. That is what it means to be an ally. You're not in it to get noticed. You're in it because you know eventually the changes that we all make will benefit whether we're here or not. Everything I do is for life, whether I'm here or not. And when I made that decision in my life, I decided to go into it wholeheartedly because I'm not going to be here forever. None of us are. So everything I do will have an impact on my kid, perhaps my grandkids if he decides to have kids. I think on that level. And I wish more people did, but it isn't easy because you have to think, even if people I don't like benefit from it, it's a good thing. Thank you, Capricorn. And thank you, all of you that are in the chat. I know this isn't for you. This is for the idiots that try to troll me and talk about the liberal stuff. And that's another thing I want to get in tonight. Too many of you are letting trolls manipulate your emotion. Why? These people seek you out. I had somebody try me today with the vaccination stuff. I am very pro vaccination. In fact, Axiom went to get his first Moderna shot. I'm going to get mine with Kiddo. Because Kiddo has autism, we're going to get ours done together, just like I got his HPV shot, so I can keep him calm, get it done. The reason why we didn't get it done immediately was because of my autoimmune issues and because of allergies. They wanted to make sure that nothing happened negatively that would have to have me in the hospital. But now that we know that it's safe, we're going to go get it done. I feel like enough people understand what's at risk if you don't. But we are dealing with people who don't want to deal with that. And I had a troll today try me. I guess she thought because I do have the habit of retweeting people who retweet me, of spreading her misinformation. But I read what people put at me. And I knew she was trying to troll me, or he was trying to troll me, or they. I don't know their pronouns. I blocked them. Why? Because they gave me a little bit of their attention. I don't have to reciprocate that. Too many of these people try that. I know beans, but I know there are a lot of people who feel like those who didn't get vaxxed yet, even though the vaccinations have been out for over almost a year now, are making excuses. I want it to be known that I am not anti-vax. And I want it to be known that once I was able to be vaxxed, that I was going to get it done. I don't minimize those who have issue. I take issue with those who have the ability and want to spread misinformation, but I understand that everybody has their reasons for not immediately going to get it. I'm just saying that if you have the ability to, please do it. We can make excuses, let fear and everything else mess with us, but once you get COVID and you're not here, then what? I really have no excuse now. My partner's vaccinated. Me and my kid will be vaccinated soon too. I cannot tell people to shut the fuck up and get vaccinated if I'm not myself. And I don't want anybody going, see, she's a hypocrite. She says all this stuff, but she don't do it herself. No, I'm going to get it done. Trust me on this. Now, that's just frustrating that trolls think they control me like that. And there are a lot of people on this platform and beyond that allow themselves to get wrapped up by these people. So I definitely want to talk about that tonight as well, because they're coming out in the woodwork. And the more people spread the word about the show, the more people that watch it, the more I'm going to deal with those people. I had one in my YouTube comments, and I told people, don't give him any attention. He played around for a little bit, but then he realized I'm not going to give him what he wants. I didn't seek that guy out. He wanted to complain about my liberal mind. So, that's his opinion on me. I've lived with bullies for over 40 years, and I realized something about every bully. I didn't seek them out. There was something about me that they had to find appealing enough to bother. They don't influence my world in that way. And on Twitch, you get these people that flood the comments with their bullying. And I know it can be hard to deal with them, but this is your channel. I had people try me a couple of times on this channel. If my mods don't get them, I put them in their place. Why? Because this is my channel. And I don't care if I was sitting in here by myself, just talking to the camera, I'm going to keep doing what I do. So if you're watching this and you have a Twitch channel and you've been overwhelmed by people making negative comments, remember, they sought you out. And if you're having fun doing what you're doing, keep doing that. There are so many of you who love doing these things, whether it's live streaming your games or chatting about topics and issues, doing artwork or painting. I hate seeing you be driven off by people who just want to be trolls. Exactly, Capricorn. But we see it all the time. We have a dear friend that's talking about leaving this platform and going to YouTube. And little heads up, YouTube's not much better. You can't keep running from trolls. They'll follow you. All you can do is beat them back and ignore them. Don't give them ammunition. And remember, they seek you out. I shouldn't even have to say that, but I understand where these people were. 20 years ago, Insecuritin especially would have been devastated by negative comments. Would have been like, oh, people don't like me. 44-year-old Tin doesn't give a crap. Life is too short to let people who seek me out to say hateful things ruin my day. That's what they do to get their jollies. You pity them and you keep it moving. I'm just tired of seeing good people allow awful people who probably have their own hangups chase you off of something you love. I'm tired of seeing it on social media. I'm tired of seeing it on these platforms. You wanted to do something with yourself. You wanted to show people your talent. You wanted people to hear what you have to say. Why would you let some troll chase you off just because they made a mean comment? They're addressing you. You didn't seek them out. I'm just really tired of having to explain that to people. I'm like, oh, 10, I wish I had your attitude. My attitude's not hard to get. I don't go chasing people to make comments. If I see a comment, I responded to that, that means that person got me interested enough for me to respond. And if I ignore them, they need to take that hint too. I need you to understand your own power on this app and beyond. And stop giving it so willingly to people who just want to be negative in your life. But especially women on this platform, because I know that it's harder for us. I had some idiot in here a few weeks ago asking me to show my feet. You think I'm going to give that person more than a few moments of no and keep it moving? We don't have to take harassment. We don't have to take bullying. And for my trans sisters, especially, you're not going to let anybody misgender you or treat you like trash either. Own who you are and keep it moving. I know it seems hard because we are living in a society that conditions us to believe that other people's thoughts on us have more value, but they don't. And if it really comes down to that and you need some kind of validation, the fact that they're seeking you out to bother should be enough. They're not seeking anybody else out, they're coming to your channel to bother you. They're like bugs attracted to a sweet scent. Don't pay them any mind. Shoot them away and keep it moving. Too many of us let bullies control the narrative. And that nonsense has destroyed too many good people. And I'm just sick of seeing it. I care about so many people, but since I started on Twitch, I've met so many amazing people from all different walks of life. And so many of them have put up with and dealt with disrespect and ignorance. And I know it gets to y'all. And I just want you to know that it's not you, it's them. And I know it's like, well, Twitch should do something. They gave us controls against this. Block them, ban them, have your mods zap them, time them out if needed, if you think they're just trying to get attention and you want to reach out to them. But don't let these people get in your head and stop you from doing what you're doing. We took a day off last week on Wednesday to protest because the some young girl thought that if enough of us sat out, Twitch would change stuff. But it's not on Twitch to control the people that come into our chats. And I know it's hard for people to hear it, and I'll probably get some ire for this, but I've had people try me, and I've shut it down. And that is what you have to do. These are our channels. And until you do something where you don't want to do it anymore or you get yourself banned, you need to control what goes on in your channel. You don't want to be bullied. Don't let them. This isn't school. You don't have to put up with somebody. You don't need views that badly. You will attract who's meant to be watching you. You will attract those who want to see and amplify you. But if you keep giving all your time and attention to those negative people, all you're going to attract are those kind of people. So stop feeding them. It really is that simple. I just honestly feel like people give too much energy to the people that aren't worth it. Half that energy you could be spending keeping on creating. I see so many amazing artists on this platform as well. And I know sometimes you get those that want to make negative comments, but what are they doing? They're in your chat watching you draw something and then making a negative comment. What they got going on for their life besides doing that? Don't let them get to you. And for those of us who, people of color, obviously, black people especially, we've put up with worse. People want to call us a slur, that's on them. It means the parents didn't train them right. Why would I let some nobody online who wants to waste their time on this earth to call me a name ruin my day? That's all they got going for them. That's pitiful, don't you think? But sometimes we let that nastiness get to us because we somehow think it's on us. It's not. The fact that they seek us out is on them. What are they doing? Nobody's going to seek them out. And that's why they try to bring us down. And if you remember those points, they can't get to you. Exactly, Beans. I feel like a lot of white people feel like they're being called out right now, and you are. Too many white people just don't want to confront anything that makes them uncomfortable. My life has always been uncomfortable, so I don't mind stepping out of pocket sometimes when I have to. I'm going through it right now with my kids' school. For a virtual school, their launch is kind of shitty. They keep changing his advisors, and I made it clear today that my son's school is important to me. If you're going to change something up and not let me know, I'm going to raise a ruckus. I don't like having to step out of pocket, but for my son, I will. And I have for the last 16 years, and I probably will for as long as I got breath in my body. But that is how I was raised. I don't go and I don't start stuff, but I finish it. I don't try to cause conflict, but I will solve it the best way I can. And for a lot of white people, you've been raised not to rock the boat. Once you get a comfortable lifestyle, comfortable idea, comfortable belief, it's hard to shake that foundation. You don't want to let go of it because it's scary to. But you know what's scarier? Continuing to see our species go down a path of destruction. When all you have to do is listen, not center yourself, and move on with all of us. And even if you don't get recognition for it, because that's another thing I keep trying to remind people. Most people who get the job done are unsung. That's just the way it is. They do it because they know in the end the results are going to happen and it's going to help everybody. That's why I get nervous amplifying people who are louder than the message all the time because there's enough of them. They're constantly shouting, but they're not doing. They're constantly amplifying themselves and selling, but they're not giving and making sure that stuff happens to help all of us. And that's why I say if you want to be an ally, you have to be working on yourself and you have to be in it whether you get a pat on the head or not. One of the things that also kind of put me off this week was Wednesday, we had this hashtag going around where we were amplifying women. And I know this is a silly thing to get wrapped up about, but it devolved. And it always does because when you start doing something that amplifies the names of some, and you know a lot of people and people feel forgot, feelings get put into the mix. That's why I try not to do stuff like that. I know so many amazing women that if I was to sit there and really list all of yous, I would be there all day for hours. But I tried it anyway, and then my anxiety spiked because, of course, I forgot friends. So I've made a pledge after Wednesday, not doing that no more. Y'all know I love you. I shouldn't have to do shout outs to prove that. And if you need that, there are plenty of other tweeters doing that. I am not using Twitter for promotion. I am using it to build friendships. I don't like people offline. I've made that clear. My mental health makes it hard for me to deal with people offline. So I get my satisfaction in building friendships online. I've made that clear. But I am also realistic about it. I know that there's a lot of backstabbing, bargaining, and social climbing online as well. So I avoid it. But some of you just seem knee deep into staying in drama. Another thing I've seen is this person's being followed by too many of my mutual games. I'm not going to stop saying we are grown people. Don't police other people's follows. It's going to come back and bite you in the ass. I know it feels like a power trip to tell your mutuals not to follow somebody, but I'm telling you, you'll be on the receiving end of that if you keep it up. I watched it happen way too much these last few months, and it's exhausting. I don't want those kind of friendships where I feel like, oh, if you want to be my friend, you can't talk to that person. I didn't play that game in high school. I'm not going to play that game as a 40-year-old adult. We don't all have to like each other on social media. We don't all have to always agree. It is really problematic, Beans. And I have seen way too many people playing those games and it's going red. It's fine to keep recording. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. But I was just like frustrated with what went on with a friend of mine that a lot of mutuals don't like right now. And then they just kept piling on another. And that Women's Wednesday thing just imploded again. And yesterday it all came to a head for me because I'm just so tired of the unnecessary pile on drama. And I see it from a lot of people that I would think would know better. And they probably feel called out if they watch this, but I don't care anymore. Y'all are grown. Stop picking fights and keep your focus on what's important because it's exhausting, especially for people like me who utilize online to establish social stuff that we don't get offline. It really, I'm telling you, I get that people were raised differently. People have different ideals and values and sets, and it's okay. We're not always going to agree. Based on the way I was raised, people would be shocked at some of the things that I've believed and that I've done. That's just how life is. And I get that I'm not always going to see eye to eye with somebody. But if I get to a point where I have enough of an animosity with somebody, that's between me and them. That's not for me to sick everybody else who follows me on them. And some people just they don't get that because it's a power trip for them to do that. But I'm warning y'all, for real. As somebody who used to do it when I first started on Twitter, because I thought that was the way, it comes back to bite you. All I'm trying to do is save you from the heartache unnecessarily. Losing actual friends because you're on a power trip. It's not worth it. Treasure the people who value your voice, and it'll go further than you know. But if you keep treating people like minions for your fuckery, it's gonna come back to you, and not in a good way. Too many people have been utilizing social media, especially, to be as popular as they weren't when they were younger. Or maybe they were popular and this is just an extension of it. I don't know, but it is not fun to constantly see people who are old enough to know better who can't figure out how to just not deal with each other if you don't like each other. I am not going to unfollow somebody just because a whole bunch of y'all don't like them. And if you feel like, oh, I'm betraying you by doing that, bye. I'm just really tired of these games. And I've seen too many good people who feel like they're powerless against it stay quiet and just put up with it. But I don't like bullies. And this is just another form of online bullying when y'all do that. You don't have to sick your mutual on somebody you don't like. You're doing that as a power trip. And I'm telling you right now, if I keep seeing the same people doing it, I'm going to start calling you out. And then you won't like it. So chill. Live and let live. You don't have to like everybody on the app and be on. Keep it moving. I'm just so tired of seeing grown folks fighting. I'm just tired of the unnecessary drama. Exactly. It is a lot of performative activism too. That's the main problem because it can be lucrative, sadly. I know I've been blessed. Having so many people follow me has helped me out a lot. I've been able to raise money for stuff. I've been able to spread the word. I've been able to get people focused on voting. But it can be exhausting too. For every nice person that's just in it because their heart's in the right place, you deal with the creeps, you deal with the weirdo. It's just a part of the thing. But there are people that exploit that too, and you've got to be careful of that. You've got to be careful of those who will smile in your face but then sick you on people. I never want people to feel like they're being used by me. And it's so hard to keep that balance because there are so many people that do that. So if I ever feel like I'm utilizing you, if you ever feel like it's one sided, talk to me. Because that's another issue I have as a sociopath. There are times where I can show emotion, no problem. And then there are times where I'm just cut off. And if I talk to you, especially offline, or if I talk to you via social media, and you feel like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while, this is what's going on, reach out. Because there's a lot of times where I don't reach out either. I just want people to understand what it's like to be friends with somebody who has these kind of issues because it's not easy. It's a lot of work like everything in life. But I'd rather be honest about that so people don't get confused and twisted. I am very reserved and closed off, even. I don't utilize emotion the way normal people do. So it can be hard when people want to be friends with me and approaching me in back and forth, even in loving me. You can ask Axia. It takes work. But if you're willing to, I think I make it worth sticking around. It's just, I knew you was going to do that. It's just a lot of people don't seem to understand that. And I see a lot of game playing and manipulation. Thank you, Bees. Exactly. Team neurodivergent. And I just want it to be easier for people like me to exist online because this really is a haven for us when we are around people that understand. But it can be torturous for us when people don't. And when I see people unnecessarily fighting each other and sicking people on each other unnecessarily, there's no reason for it. There are plenty of people online that I probably never want to hang out with, don't want to know. I don't need to make that public. And I don't need you guys to feel that way if that's not how you would have felt if you didn't know I felt that way. I am not here to influence how people feel about other people. That's not my job. And I just want people to stop playing those kind of games because I've seen it always come back around to burn you. That's just my advice on that. Let me see. So, I know how that feels, Beans. It is true. Self soothing has been something a lot of us have gone through. Not only neurodivergent, but anybody who's dealt with like having to be on their own because of the way they were raised or whatnot. We're kind of used to doing stuff on our own. So it's hard to let people in. And then when we let people in and they're fighting with each other, our first instinct is to get away, isolate, and just get away from all that nonsense because it's overwhelming. So I don't blame anybody when they're like, you know what? Peace out. I got to protect my peace. One of my favorite people to follow on there, Myron, and I'm using his real name. I should be using his Twitter name, but I'm blanking on it. He made it clear. He goes, I am not the kind of guy that gets into drama or fighting or back and forth. I just want to hang out with my friends. He is the kind of people I follow because that is my attitude. I don't want to be fighting on Twitter no more. I did that for most of 2016, all of 2018 through 2020. I'm tired. I just want to see good things happen. And I can't do that if I'm getting in back and forth beefs over, oh, this person said something the way I don't like it. That's not how life should be, y'all. And too many of us get caught up in that. Oh, he said green and I like blue. This person likes this football team and I like this one. It's fine when it's just petty and use a plan. But some people are taking that so seriously. that even a little difference of opinion is enough to pile on. And it's not okay. And I don't want to be caught in the middle of this. So I'll cut everybody off. I've thought about it a few times. If it gets to be too much, walking away from social media has never been a problem for me. That's another cool thing about being a sociopath. I don't have that kind of emotional attachment. So please, y'all, understand where I'm coming from with this. I don't want to do that because I also have the wherewithal that a lot of my friends would not like that either. That kind of sucks. But I'm really exhausted by it. I don't know how better to explain it. And I know Beans probably knows what I'm talking about. It's like a battery, you know? I charge it up as much as I can by taking breaks, but it doesn't take much right now to completely drain it. And when I see people arguing with each other over the stupidest things and then going, well, we all need to block this person. And why are my mutuals following this person? The battery just goes down again. And then I can't be on to spread any kind of cheerfulness or awareness because it's like, I don't want to deal with this today. I'm tired of using my voice to tell you common sense thing. If you don't like somebody, don't like them. Block them. You won't see them. So why is it that you have to keep everybody else from seeing them if it's your thing? I just want people to stop with the nonsense. It's distracting, it's dividing, and we need each other right now. Too many of you are acting like trolls, and it's not okay anymore. And I know that some of you will watch this and be like, oh, she ain't talking about me. And I'm glad that I know I won't have to pat yous on the head. But if you feel attacked by this, you need to reflect on why. Because some of yous have been out of pocket. I shouldn't have to call yous by name. If what I just said in this hour has struck you because you did it, instead of getting mad at me, or if you want to get mad and block me, go ahead. Do me the favor. But if you want to really change from this, you can. Nobody's stopping you. You don't have to be tied to past drama. But if you keep continuing the same drama, I don't want to deal with it no more. We are getting older. And I don't want to have to keep going through the same thing that high school Tim went through and college Tim went through. We are all grown people. Some of us are grandparents now. Why are you getting into these beefs and feuds? It's not fun. And exactly, Beans, we're not always gonna like everything about each other. We might even have a day where we're feeling off and say something that isn't really like us. Is that enough to really shit on them for the rest of their days? Come on now, y'all. It is getting so tiring having to say this kind of stuff. But that's how this week has been. Just watching people who, instead of focusing on what should be important, organizing, making sure that people are focused on voting, making sure that anybody who's going to run against Abbott or Kemp or any of the assholes currently trying to restrict women's bodies, push transgender bills, are primaried and then taken out of office. Y'all would rather fight on Twitter about whatever. It's exhausting. But then you want to say, oh, I'm your ally, Tin. I've got your back, Tin. If you did, you wouldn't be fighting with each other over stupid stuff and trying to stick your mutuals on them. You don't have the time or the energy for that. And I know some of you sassy bitches are like, well, I got time for both. I can be petty. Nah. No, 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 no. Stop playing these games. They're going to hurt you in the end. For real. Exactly. They don't have to tell you because you know. There is no need to tell somebody you're there for them. They know. They can rely on you. They go to you. That's why I tell people all the time I never trust anybody that has to tell me they're my ally. If you have to tell me that, I wasn't looking at you in the first place. It's like those women that jump in when we're talking about racism or any kind of discrimination. They want to go, well, I've been voting Democrat for 60 years and I've done this and this and that. And what you're saying makes me feel uncomfortable. And that's all. I just want you to change your tone. You're hurting me and I'm your ally. You're not my ally. because what I said wouldn't be hurting you if I was. You shouldn't feel guilty about racism other people are doing if you're not doing that yourself. Nothing I say is to make people feel guilty, it's to make them think. Exactly. I tell people all the time learning about actual history isn't to make people feel bad, it's so that we can stop allowing these things. There was a rise this week on not just blatant, but covert anti Semitism. There was a lot of people spreading a certain far left person and her nonsense again. And of course, she took all that attention to make herself look like the victim. And as I said, in my quest not to summon her like Beetlejuice, I don't talk her name, I don't spread her stuff. But yet people kept amplifying her. And what they don't realize is they amplify her toxic message and they push her victim narrative instead of ignoring her because she belongs in a waste bin. And if you don't want to see hate spread, we have to collect them in a way that doesn't give them amplification. Don't summon these demons, but make sure you let people know, hey, that person's anti Semitic. Don't watch their cast. Hey, that person's bigoted. Don't amplify their words. Thank you, Capricorn. I honestly loved gaming when I first got started. I was a gaming writer. So Kalari Gamer Chick was a natural handle for me. But I'm a witch. I've always felt drawn to paganism and witchcraft because of my love of history. And because I've always knew that that belief was rooted in women and knowledge. And everywhere I studied in history, anytime a woman tried to obtain knowledge, society tried to rally against them. And we're seeing it now. It has been a constant cycle in history. Anytime women started to really earn their own way and power and knowledge and just trying to be our own people, society has tried to take that from us. And we cannot keep allowing that. There is nothing wrong with all of us learning and growing. But until we get a society that respects that and respects all of us doing so, it's going to be a fight. So I proudly call myself a witch because that's what I am. I am constantly seeking knowledge, both spiritual, mental, and textbook. Even though some of these textbooks really need to be rewritten because they're kind of garbage. I am pushing people to constantly learn as long as you have the ability to, because that is the way we grow. And I just want people to understand that I'm not being preachy to make you feel bad. I just think that once we all start thinking and continuing to make ourselves better, this world gets better. It's really that simplistic, y'all. And exactly, it really is. And every time they try to win, we continue on. So anytime I see people trying to give up and going, well, they continue it. So are we. It doesn't have to be that big of a struggle because there's more of us than them. They will hold on to their beliefs as it kills them. We will keep prospering because we don't want to go. We have the ability to not only self survive, but to keep getting smarter. So I want to wrap it up with words of hope because I know this was a hard week for a lot of us. But I really did take the time to recharge and realize that I got to stop amplifying those who just want to be negative. I know a lot of them don't, bees, for real. But I know that for those that don't, there are a lot of yous that do because it takes training. And I'm going to continue to hold yous up. I'm going to continue to hold, even half, my son's half too. I'm getting ready to hopefully one day marry another one. He's looking the way. But all I'm saying is the only thing that matters is all of us individually getting better. Because we can try as we might to change other people, but if what we're doing isn't right, none of that work matters. I'm going to get ready to wrap it up, feed myself an axiom. I want to thank you all for joining me on this. We will be back tomorrow. Last week, I really wasn't feeling well, so we couldn't do the Gen X Cynic. But we do have an adaptation cast we're going to talk about. And there's just so much on the horizon. I hope y'all saw that Matrix trailer. We're kind of excited about that, especially since we get to watch it in the house. So I am so happy that you were here, and I will definitely see you all next week. And yep, we got the music. Thank you so much, y'all. And I will see you all tomorrow or next week.